Hello, everybody. Hey, I am going to tell you about my Vipassana meditation retreat that I went on last week. So I'm going to do a few things in this video. I'm going to talk about how I got interested in Vipassana meditation and tell you a little bit about Vipassana and the technique, but not teach you how to do it. You need to go to do a retreat to do that. And then I'm going to tell you specifically about the retreat center that I went to here in Mexico, and something about my experiences at the retreat, and then how I am working with Vipassana meditation now in my daily life. So I've been home for less than a week, and so I've had some time to kind of incorporate it into my life now. So I first found out about Vipassana meditation, I believe it was the Cleveland International Film Festival, and there is a movie called Dhamma Brothers, and I'll put a link below in the description. And this is a film it's a documentary about how they brought the Vipassana meditation technique to a prison, a maximum security prison in Alabama in the United States, and the experience for some of the inmates there. And it's such a super interesting movie. And there have also been other times where they did Vipassana in prisons in India as well, and I think they made some movies about that too. But I happened to see this one about the prison in Alabama. And so that was probably like 6 or 7 years ago, and I just decided that I wanted to do a Vipassana meditation retreat. And so there are centers all over the world where you can do these retreats. It's called a 10-day course, which is like the basic course. And they're all around the world. There are centers, and so this is specifically for Vipassana, and then there are non-centers. So like in the prison, that was at a non-center. They actually went to the prison and set up this meditation center and conducted it there. So, but I went to a Vipassana center in Mexico, in the state of Mexico. So I had decided that I really wanted to do this 10-day course, and I had applied several times and was accepted. Like almost anybody gets accepted. You don't have to be a professional meditator or something like that. Actually, they prefer people with zero experience meditating so that they can teach you this technique, and you're not influenced by any other techniques that you have been practicing. And so I had applied twice before and been accepted, and one thing or another happened, and I wasn't able to go because it's 10 days plus you arrive on day 0, and then you leave on day 11 in the morning. So it's really, you need to make sure you have that time set aside. And you do not have access to your cell phone at all, except for cases of emergency. And you also don't speak for 9 of the days. So it's really you really need to set this time aside and say, this is what I'm going to dedicate my time to, this endeavor. And work. It's work. It's not like a meditation vacation. It's not like going to a yoga retreat or spa or something like that. It's actually work. And so I was accepted twice before. Finally, this time I got accepted, and I was like, okay, this is I'm dedicating this time. I'm going to do it. Nothing got in my way. So I was very, very excited. It was literally 5 or 6 years coming for me to be able to do this retreat. Okay, I'm going to tell you a little bit about the schedule, which is most people will just look at the schedule and be like, forget it, can't do it. So the first wake-up bell rings at 4 a.m., and I'm not a morning person. I'm a 7 a.m. wake up. So, and then second bell rings at 4:20, and then you're supposed to be up and meditating by 4:30 until 6:30 a.m. So you can meditate either in your room or in the meditation center or the meditation hall. And then at 6:30 is breakfast. So you have from 6:30 to 8:30 breakfast, maybe 8. 6:30 to 8. Breakfast, and then you can relax in your room. You can go back to bed if you want. And then from 8 to 9 is meditation. There are 3 times a day where it's a group meditation. So that's like everybody meditates. You have to be there. You have to be in the meditation hall. And that's from 8 to 9 is the first one. And then from 9 to 11 is meditate either in the hall or in your room. And they would have like a little kind of class where they bring us up. So the meditation hall, everything is segregated. Men and women are separate. Okay, we're all in the meditation hall together, but the men are on one side and the women are on the other side. And then the teachers are in the front, assistant teachers, which I'll explain that in a minute. So like from 9 to 11, that was a time where they would call us up like in groups of 6 students, 6 women and 6 men on either side, and they'd ask us like, okay, so are you understanding this concept, and are you practicing it? And she'd ask each one of us individually, and then we'd practice together for like a minute or 2 in our small groups, and then we'd go sit down, and then another 6 would come up, etc., till they went through all the new students. And then after that you would have like probably an hour and a half left to either meditate in the hall or in your room. And then we had lunch. 11 to 1 was lunch, and it was delicious. I'll talk about the food in a minute. And so you ate, and then you could relax, exercise. Usually a lot of us exercised walking around the grounds. Or you could go to sleep if you needed to sleep some more. Or you could meditate if you wanted to meditate some more. And then from 1:30 to 2:30 was group meditation again, so that was in the hall. And then 2:30 to 3 to 5 again was meditation either in the room or in your hall, or in the hall or in your room. And then from 5 to 6 was dinner, and dinner was fruit and tea. And then the old students, so people who've taken a course before, they're considered old students, and they would only have tea. And then 6 to 7 was group meditation. 7 to 8 was the discourse. 7 to about 8:15 was the discourse. And I'll talk about that in a minute. And then like 8:15 to 9 was meditation again. And then bed at 9:30, lights out 9:30. And then up again at 4:30 the next morning. So it was about 7 hours of sleep if you were sleeping well. The first 3 days of the course you're just learning about your breath. Okay, you just focus on your breath. It's just to like give your mind time to settle down and learn like how to detect sensation. So it's like to sharpen your mind. And so you're just sitting and focusing on this area, from right above your lip, your upper lip, and the nose area, and just feeling the breath go in and out. And then gradually we start to focus that area down, like to reduce it more, and so that you're really getting good at sensing sensations on your skin. And then on day 4 you learn the actual Vipassana method, which is where you go through from head to toe, and you just like you focus on little areas. It says like 2 to 3 inches. You just go around. I go around my head like this in a spiral, but you can do it however you want. And feeling sensation. As soon as you feel a sensation, then you move on to the next section, and you move on to the next section. And you do your face, you do your ears, your neck, your shoulders, all the way down. Okay, and that's basically it. And your mind is going to wander, and you keep bringing it back, and it wanders, and you keep bringing it back. And sometimes if you're like feeling some pain or what's considered like a strong sensation, a dense sensation, then you might stay on that section a little bit longer. And just really feel like the point is that when you have pain, for example, you always like want to push it away. And this is like allowing yourself to feel the pain, but not identify with it. So it like the whole concept behind Vipassana is pleasant or unpleasant sensations that you feel on your body. They come and go. Sensations are always coming and going and coming and going and coming and going. And so the idea is to not get wrapped up in them and create this story around them. Just this beautiful feeling is not going to last forever, and it'll go, and this unpleasant sensation is not going to last forever, it'll go. Okay, so this is like, it's meant to end suffering. Anybody can do this meditation technique. And okay, so let me see, I'm losing my train of thought a little bit. We're going to cut that
It's okay.
part out. Yeah.
Check your key. Tu mapa.
Schedule. I did the schedule. I did the method. Okay. Okay. So I think we said that men and women are segregated, and also it's silent. Okay. You take a pledge to maintain noble silence for days 1 through 9. So, which is super important because you really need to be focusing on your own thing. Like, if we were able to talk through this all the time, then meal times would have just been like, all these people talking, and then, people be sharing their experiences and go like, oh, I felt this, oh, I felt this, and then you start comparing yourself, like, oh, I didn't feel that, maybe I should have felt that, so it's really, by not speaking, you just have the chance to let your mind settle. Okay, and slow down, which I will also mention that it's really easy to stimulate your mind if you want to. So the two things that I did that kind of, I guess you could say stimulated my mind. But the one was going out into the yard, the garden area, and just walking around, like because you do have this free time, but you have nothing to do. You don't have any reading to do. You don't have a cell phone to be looking at. You don't have anybody to talk to. So you literally have nothing to do. Like, you can clean your room a little bit or do some exercise, but other than that, so you're kind of looking at things. So I would go walk around the garden, and just really, I had the time to look at things, like follow a bee from plant to plant, and watch him. Like, why was he choosing only the white flowers? And there were all these yellow, golden flowers in there too, but he wasn't stopping at the golden flowers, just the white flowers. Or to look at a spider web and count, really look at how it's constructed, and look at the spider and how he's sitting in there, and how in the mornings when the dew was heavy, it would cling to each web, like as if it were a little string of pearls, the whole spider web. It was such a gift to be able to have the time to look at these things and to experience this, because I didn't have my face in my damn phone. And I didn't have anything to distract me from it. It's so beautiful. Like, I watched the shadows on the wall, and they were like, it sounds, John Lennon did too, because he he sang about it. But just these little things that are so beautiful. So that was really stimulating to my mind. And then the other thing that I did was on about day 3. So it's noble silence, meaning no eye contact, no no signaling to people. Just really you're supposed to kind of keep your gaze down and really just be in your own thing. So, but then at about day 4, I was doing pretty good with that. But on day 4, then I was like, oh, I just want to look at people. And, and I started looking around. And then you make stories up about these people, or you wonder oh, why does she walk like that? She has such an attitude. Or, this one is walking really focused, and I think that she's really having an intense experience and like really working hard. And I learned out later that she was going through like this horrible anxiety and depression in her experience. And so, and then I started giving out prizes to people. Like I was watching like who had the biggest stack, because you have to you sit. This is something else that I experienced was discomfort, trying to find yourself comfortable to sit for like 10 hours a day. And so I tried like sitting on my knees and propping my butt up, and I had pain in my back, I had pain in my leg, trying sitting in a chair. You can sit against the wall, you can sit on a little meditation bench, and so I was just like watching people, this one with the girl right next to me, she only had one little round cushion and she sat on that. So I gave her the prize for the most minimalist meditator. And then at the opposite end of the spectrum, this other girl had a stack like this high of cushion on top of cushion, and then she had her knees padded, and so it looked like a Big Mac. And the name of the meditation center is Makaranda, and so I gave her the Big Makaranda prize. And then somebody else I gave like best dressed, and then somebody else oh my gosh, I can't remember the other prizes. So this is what I was doing kind of to entertain myself and making things up in my head, and I just felt like I had fun with myself. I enjoyed being by myself. And which I knew that I did anyhow, but I don't get to spend that much time alone, being married, and you just don't get that much time to spend on your own. So that was really cool. That was fun. I'm going to tell you about the dorms. So at Dhamma Makaranda is the name of this center in San Bartolo Amanalco in the state of Mexico, in Mexico. It is near Valle de Bravo, near Mexico City, in the mountains. The air is pure and clean and fresh. And so the men, I don't know a whole lot about the men's section because I only got a little peek at their dining room, which is not as nice as the women's dining room. So apparently the women have nicer facilities at this particular center. There are more women than men that regularly register for courses. It is a very popular center because it's just like this magical little place. So you have to apply early if you're interested in doing a course. So I'm going to tell you mostly about the women's side. So the meditation hall is in the middle. So the women enter from the women's side and then the men enter from the men's side. And then we're divided just by an aisle in the middle. The women have two dorms. The one is closer to the dining hall, and it's kind of cold. Actually, it's very cold because it's a different construction than the other one. But it does. They have nicer. The rooms are nicer, maybe I would say. You have like more creature comforts. You have a little nightstand, and then you have hooks on the walls, but you might have to share a room in that dorm. And then the other dorm, which was when I was in the back, closer to the garden, and I'm not sure if it's made of adobe or finished with adobe. It has a beautiful skylight that runs the whole length of the dorm, and it's warm. It was nice and warm and cozy, and we got this beautiful light coming in through the skylights. We didn't have doors on our rooms. We had curtains, so you have a little bit less privacy. The other dorm has doors. And then you have showers and sinks, and then you walk out right into the garden. And the garden had it's mostly a meadow. which they have, they're kind of letting it go back natural. And then they have, because this girl who was there last year said that it wasn't like that last year. And they're really, so there's all kinds of wildflowers and different grasses and stuff. And then they have cut all these pathways, like just with a lawnmower, cut pathways so you can walk all through the meadow. And then around the edges are these evergreen trees. It's called Okata or ocote, I think, in Spanish, which I don't know what that is in English. But I would go out in the morning when the dew was heavy, and which wasn't every morning. So I also noticed that there are some mornings where there was a lot of dew, and there were other mornings when there was not a lot of dew, or misty. And I would take the dew and I would just like walk under the tree and get it on my fingers, and then I would like put it on my face as my morning moisturizer. And that was also when I saw the pearl necklaces on the spider webs. And you could just sit in the meadow. Some of us would take our shoes off and walk around. It was about 1 kilometer all the way around, a little less than 1 kilometer if you did the whole loop. And so some of us wanted to get some exercise, because that was like the only exercise that you're allowed to do is walking in the meadow and or around the grounds. And then I did do a little bit of yoga in my room and like some abdominal exercises on my bed. When I go back again, I will take a yoga mat with me. So it's not like, they say yoga is compatible with Vipassana meditation. So, but they don't encourage you to do that. So anyhow, okay, so those are the dorms. And then the food, so we had breakfast at 8 a.m., 6:30 a.m. And it was always oatmeal and papaya, a big tray of papaya, and then they had other fruit, and then they had some other cereals, and that was about it. Coffee, tea, water. And then lunch, they had, lunch was like the highlight of the day, because they would have, it was all vegan, vegetarian. You could very easily be gluten-free, which I'm vegan and gluten-free, so that was awesome. I never went hungry at all. So it was like basic food, rice, some stewed vegetables of some sort, and they would have like some raw, usually spinach and lettuce. So you could kind of like make a bowl, and then soup of some sort, like a bean soup or a vegetable soup. And then they'd usually have some dessert, maybe like, what did they have? They had like some energy bites, or they had like a raw cake. So it was simple but delicious. And then everybody washed their own dishes. Lunch was always in silence. All the meals, actually. And then dinner, I mentioned, was fruit and tea. And so here was another thing, another way that I stimulated my mind was I was choosing to sit in front of the window. So we had beautiful windows all on 3 sides, which the guys don't have. And I would sit there in front of the window facing out onto the grounds and watch the butterflies, because this is like monarch butterfly country. The sanctuary is only like 30 minutes away. And I would watch the butterflies, just watch the butterflies float by. And after doing that for like 3 or 4 days, I was like, okay, this is like stimulating to my mind. And then you could watch people walk in and out. And I said, and there was like a brick wall in the middle of the cafe and the dining hall. And I was like, and I would see some women sit there, and I was like, why would anyone want to sit facing a brick wall? Like, I would never sit there. Well, then after all this mind stimulation, I was like, you know what? I'm going to sit in front of the brick wall. And so just to calm my mind. And so I sat in front of the brick wall, and then I started looking at the brick wall, and I was just looking. I'm probably going to cry again. But I was looking at the bricks, and I was thinking, who made these bricks? And who brought these bricks here? And who built this wall? And And all the people that run this center who are volunteers, there's nobody's making any money on this, so that I could sit here and I could do this work. And just how much gratitude I had, sitting in front of this brick wall. So these are the kind of things that, that you're able to take the time to appreciate and to experience when you take advantage of this opportunity. So so then after after days 4, 5, 6, so you're able to get into the technique. Really, it's just practicing. Oh, so let me explain about how the recordings go, how the classes are, how you actually learn how to meditate. So the teacher is Goenka, okay? He's this guy from Burma, Myanmar, who moved to India, and he learned this technique from his teacher. He's no longer living. But they recorded the classes. So it's a 10-day course, okay? That's the basic Vipassana course. Everybody has to start doing a 10-day course. And then after that, you have to do 3, and then you can do other shorter courses or longer courses and deeper, getting deeper into the practice. But so in 1991, okay, so this is now 28 years old already, but they recorded him teaching a 10-day course in, I'm not sure if it was in India, but in English, okay? So they have audio recordings. So when you're in the meditation hall, you hear audio, and then he'll speak for a little while, and then they translate it to Spanish. So this particular course was in English and Spanish, but they have English and many different languages. So depending where you are in the world. And in the United States, they do some bilingual courses also. So if you go to Dhamma.org, you can find meditation centers. I'll put the link in the description. Then for the evening discourse, so you hear the lesson in English, and then you hear the translation in Spanish. The translations are excellent. And then the evening discourse, which is like an hour and 15 minutes, those we actually split up. So they would do it audio in the meditation hall, and then the English speakers would go to the women's dining hall and watch the video in English. So they recorded this course. It's great audio, it's great video, great translation. So kudos to them. And Goenka is just he has a very strong accent, so he's a little bit difficult to understand. But he's just so in all of these discourses, they were all an hour to an hour and 15 minutes, 10 days, okay? He never once said, or, what was I talking about? Or, there was never a single pause or hesitation or anything. He just spoke. And he likes to tell stories and then, talk about the technique and things like that. So he's the teacher. And then his assistant teachers are the ones who are there at the center with us that we can ask questions to. Okay. So there are 3 times that you can talk, okay? Or, reasons for talking. One is to talk to the coordinator. So the women's coordinator, there was one woman who, if we needed something, I was having pain, so I asked for ice, if she could get ice for me. So she got ice for me. So that was why I spoke to her. And then one day I overslept for the meditation, and she came to get me, and so we had to speak about that. The other one is in the kitchen. If you needed something, if we were out of some food or you needed something for whatever, you needed to communicate about food, you could ring a bell and somebody would come out from the kitchen and you could whisper to them what you needed. And then the third one was with the teachers. So if you had a question about the technique, then you could specifically ask the teacher. On the 10th day of the course, at like 3 p.m., that's when Noble Silence ends, and that's when all hell breaks loose and everybody can talk. No, so you can finally talk to these people that you've been, observing for a week, making stories about, trying to guess what their personality is like, or where they're from, or things like that. So it was really fun to be able to finally talk to people, and you could just ask them, say, where are you from, or what's your name, or why do you do this, or I don't know, whatever. What was your experience like? And then it made it extra challenging to meditate then, on the 10th day and the 11th day in the morning, because then you were really getting all this stimulation. But I just wanted to talk about a couple of synchronicity things that happened that were fun. Like this one girl was talking about how her contacts had she had lost a contact, and then or one of them broke or something like that, and then she had lost the other one, and so she was walking around with no contacts, and she's like, and I'm so blind I can't see anything. And I said, I have an extra pair of glasses. And she's like, oh no, really, I'm like so blind. I said, here, try these on. And she put them on, and she was like, oh my God, I can see. Like somebody who was as blind as me, who had almost the same prescription as I do. And I was like, and she had been walking around without glasses, and I don't know what my prescription is, like 3 something. And I was like, how could you be walking around without glasses on? Like, you can't see anything. She's like, I know. So, and I happen to have 2 pairs of glasses, which I don't think I've had 2 pairs of glasses in my life for like years. And I happen to have both pairs because I just got a new pair of glasses. And I took my old ones with me as well. So I lent her my glasses for at least the last like 24 hours. And so she was able to actually see and walk around. So that was fun. And then another bit of synchronicity was this friend that I made there who is living in Mazatlan, and she's very interested in sailing, and she's interested in selling her business and traveling more, and like we're just kind of at the same point in our lives, and we're very interested in sailing, and we want to start doing that. And so this whole we feel like the Vipassana meditation and the sailing connection and all that, and we just really clicked. And so we're looking forward to our continued friendship and see how that develops. So it's not just learning this technique and going on a 10-day retreat or course and then feeling like it's going to change your life, okay? I mean, it will change your life, actually, but you need to make the effort to continue to meditate and to apply the teachings and the practice to your life. When I got home, I just felt, actually when we were getting ready to leave the center, I just felt like, and going back into real life, I just felt like tingly, I felt so alive, and that I felt life was going to be different. And when I got back home, I didn't even virtually pick up my phone for almost 24 hours after I got out. I was just I didn't even want to check my messages, check my emails, just check my Facebook. I was just leaving my phone there practically. Then when I was at home, the next day and that day, I just really noticed that so it's not just sitting in meditation, but it's also just being aware, okay? Aware, as Goenka says. Be aware. Whatever you're doing, be aware of what you're doing. So if you're walking, then walk. If you're washing the dishes, then wash the dishes and be focused on washing the dishes. So, it's mindfulness, it's presence, and I feel that I have a lot more of that now that I'm back. I'm more apt to leave my phone in the other room and just not check it. Actually, I turned off a bunch of my notifications and took my email off my phone and things like that, like just to minimize distractions. And then to meditate every day, which is 2 hours a day. So 1 hour in the morning and 1 hour in the evening. And I've been really good about it. I think one day I only did 30 minutes in the evening. And you need to find that time and you need to make it a priority. And then if you can find like a weekly meditation group, try to meditate with other Vipassana meditators like once a week or whenever you can. Yeah, and and I had some difficulties this week with some personal stuff going on, and I just felt that I wasn't as reactive about it. My mind, while it was kind of running around a bit about it, not as much as it did before, or as it would have if I were having a similar experience before. So I feel like I'm being more matter of fact about things and more, okay, this is what I'm feeling now, and really like feel it. Because when I have anxiety about something, or when I'm going through some heavy stuff, like it's usually in my kind of solar plexus area, and just really, instead of like pushing it away and just trying to think about something else, just be like, no, let's feel this. Let's, like, how far does this extend and how deep does it go? And just like being able to sit with it and just kind of make space for it, as we say, and just not identify with it, but just feel it and just let it be and know that it's not going to be there forever. So yeah, I feel better able to manage things, and I also feel like I'm being better about like doing the dishes and keeping the kitchen clean and just getting more done. So that's what something that Goenka told us, on the last day. He was like, okay, you think it's going to be a lot to do an hour in the morning and an hour in the evening, but he says, you're not going to have to sleep as much, which is true. I'm sleeping 7 hours, where before I was sleeping 8 to 9 and taking a nap. And I really haven't had a desire to take a nap. When I was trying to nap at the center, I couldn't fall asleep virtually. Once in a while I would, but most of the time I wouldn't fall asleep. So he says, so you're not going to sleep as much, and the work that you used to get done in 8 hours, you're going to get done in a shorter period of time. So you end up having more time because you're more focused. And it's true. I feel like I'm getting things done in a better way than I used to. So yeah, so to find those 2 hours a day is actually not as hard as you would think. So I love it. So I think that's it. That's my experience. If you have questions, please post them below, and I will try to answer them as best I can. And if you are at all interested in doing a 10-day course, just register for it. Because you don't have to confirm until like 2 days before or 2 weeks before. And you need to apply like 2 months before. So just apply. And then you can later figure out your life. And also it's a good way to motivate you, because you're like, okay, well, I applied for this course, I'm accepted for it, so I'm committed. And so you're more likely to follow through with it. And if you are interested in making meditation a bigger part of your life, which we all should, then this is a great way to jumpstart your practice and change your life. So that's it. Thanks for listening, and I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you found it informative. And metta, which means love and happiness to you. Thank you.